It's known as the largest and deadliest conflict in human history, fought on land, sea, and even air. World War II involved over 50 nations and was fought in nearly every part of the world.
And by the end of World War II, an estimated 60 to 80 million people died. Close to 55 million of those were civilians. And for the ones who fought, it's part of our civil duty to uphold the lasting legacy of those fallen heroes. One local community organization is doing just that, capturing the lives of those veterans on the Eastern Shore using the power of live performance. And here to tell us more is Matt Bogdan. He's the president of Community Players. Thanks for being here today, Matt.
Thank you very much.
So let's talk a little bit about the historical connection between Delmarva and World War II.
Well, you know, there are, and it amazes me how many local men and women were involved in World War II. There have been a number of books written about it, and so when I had the opportunity to do a show regarding World War II, I actually met a band called the WWII. So that's kind of how it all started. And so they played this World War II music, and I said, well, that sounds like a great idea for a show. But how can I tie in perhaps getting a grant from a local organization? So I contacted Beach to Bay Heritage Area, which is a local organization that promotes the heritage and tourism on the shore. And they said, and the tie-in was, well, how about the people from the shore who participated in World War II? So put those two together and created the show.
So why do you think it's important to have a feature, a play like this for folks?
Well, the most important reason is that we don't want to forget. We need to remember their sacrifice and their devotion, and this enables us to do that in a different way. So I use slides, I use narration, I use dramatic monologues, and the band comes in as well. So that helps creates that scene of so that people can, so that we cannot forget these people.
So what went into the selection process when featuring these brave men and women? It had to be tough.
Yeah, it was. That's the toughest thing. In fact, I wound up covering, I have over between 50 to 60 men and women who are recognized in the show. And it was so true. Whom do I pick? And so what I'm hoping to do is that, from the ones I did pick, is that next year we'll have part 2, so that I can recognize those who, because there's so many.
Right.
And so I tried to look for stories that, involved people from all over the shore. So, there's people from Easton and Cambridge and Tyaskin and Crisfield and Bivalve and Ocean City and Whaleyville and Parsonsburg, Salisbury, of course. So that was kind of part, because I really wanted to cover as much area as I could. And if they had perhaps an interesting story that might go along with it, for instance, we have, I don't know if you're familiar with the 6888. There was a movie recently done that. We have 5 African-American women who actually served in that battalion.
Wow.
I know, I was surprised too. I thought it was like 1 or 2, but it was actually 5.
5.
One is from Fruitland, 2 are from Cambridge, and 2 are from Crisfield. There's a John Money. John Money is from Easton, and he wound up becoming a cook and an assistant with Dwight D. Eisenhower during the war, and then stayed with him for the next 28 years. So you have those kinds of things. I was like, wow, I never knew that. That's pretty remarkable. There's Maurice Graham. Maurice Graham is the father of one of the community players. So I kind of reached out to the community players, say, does anybody have a story? And he was in D-Day. He went to Normandy. He went back years later for the memorial of it. And so that's a great story. Another man jumped out of as he was jumping out of an airplane, his parachute harness gets caught on the door, and so he winds up jumping eventually, but he's away from his battalion, and he winds up meeting as he lands, he almost lands in in a cow field, if you know what I'm saying. And so then he winds up meeting a wounded German soldier, and he winds up taking him back to Canada as his prisoner. And so that sort of a thing kind of goes on. So there's so many stories that I could address.
All right, so give us the wheres and the whens of the show so we can all go see it.
Sure. Well, we open this Friday at the Community Players Building on Nutters Cross Road. That's May 16th, and that's at 7:30. and then we'll be at the American Legion in Princess Anne on Saturday the 2nd, Saturday at 2 p.m., and then we'll be in Easton at the American Legion on the 18th at 2 p.m. Then we'll be doing it the following week in Ocean City American Legion and the VFW in Cambridge, and also the American Legion right in Salisbury.
Okay.
So you can go to our website, sbyplayers.org, and that has all the dates and times. So, and it's free admission. So you know, that's kind of great.
That.
Can't beat that. So,
Yeah.
so I encourage everyone to come and see that and honor the men and women who served.
What a great idea. Thank you so much. And of course, we'll have that link on our website, DelmarvaLife.com. Matt, thank you.
Thank you.